genuinely related to my topics. So that is why I want to just recite it before I begin. It says, batter me, whip me to the bone, but when I stand, I do not stand alone. Why should I be afraid of you? Strong men you think you are, but cowardly and a weakling too. You can bruise my body, tell me all kinds of profanity, but believe me, you cannot touch my soul. You may look at me with despise, but never kill the fire in my eyes. You may scar my body, try to break my bones, but that will not change my personality. I will hold on to my dignity. I am what I am and what I was meant to be. I wonder, did you ever care? Sometimes you act as if I'm not here. Cold eyes, angry eyes, cruel eyes that looks beyond me. Believe me, you are a mystery. You smile and think I'm broken. My shoulders drooped and teary eyes. I that reveal a lifelong story of a life of violence and cruelty. You see, violence does not pay. God did not create us to be that way. So even though you curse me with your mouth, beat me with your hard, large, cruel hands, believe me in God, I will stand. For I was meant to rise triumphantly like a phoenix. I will rise above your unbelievable cruelty. So batter me, whip me to the bone, but when I stand, I do not stand alone. Now, if I talk of gender psyche, now this is very, very relevant. That is, all women and all feminine genders should consider themselves that they are strong enough to stand by themselves. So now when I talk of gender psyche, let me talk about something related with the globalized world also. Globalization describes an ongoing process by which regional economics, societies, cultures have become integrated into a globe spanning network of communications and trade. The era of globalization is typically deferred as a time in which the sovereignty of nation state has declined and modes of exchange operate with increasing ease and speed across national boundaries, producing configurations of power that exceed the boundaries of the nation state. Globalization's impact on literature is manifold, with both positive and negative associations. The publishing industry has itself become more globalized, but the World Wide Web simultaneously allows even greater access to literary texts. Meanwhile, the themes of hybridity and multi-rootedness in part, expressions of the subjective experience of globalization, are increasingly prevalent in many literary texts. Our sexuality and gender shapes us like no other. The constitution of our sexual identities, which we call gender, how femaleness becomes a woman and maleness becomes man. The script men use to become manly and masculine, the script women use to become womanly and feminine, was the first province of behavioral scientists, mainly men, and lately the concern of feminists. Women from the very beginning are subjected to conflicts and experiences markedly different from those of men, experiences which are increasingly being reflected in their writing. The Indian woman carries with her a cultural and religious baggage where family and procreativity are valued over the self, where woman is venerated as Devi, the goddesses, the young virgins are worshipped. A strict moral code defines her era of freedom. The new market has brought in so many changes in the lifestyle and the visual manifestations of these changes at all levels, and is so radically different from the older ones that the whole society seems to have undergone transformation. The visibility of women have increased everywhere, from buses to aeroplanes, from small offices to big corporate houses, from the backlane markets to big shopping malls, and from small theater stage to the electronic screen. The television serials are almost all centered on women characters, some of which are infinitely engaged in saving their families, and the others in constant scheming, those who are constantly scheming against them. The gadgets are broadening their bases both in office and in the home. Despite the much greater number of reports of violence on women, self confident and unhesitant feminine images are a commonplace. I think everybody will agree to this that this sort of a transformation has been taking place in the recent years. So, has society really undergone a fundamental change? More particularly, has the new market ushered in a basic change in gender equations, or else it is only redefining the older ones. The relevant question is whether the capital intensive globalized market is changing gender equations in such a way as to make a serious dent in patriarchy, or it is making only a few adjustments here and there without really changing the patriarchal system. Some of the fundamentals of patriarchy are women's chastity, her non autonomy, her body's instrumentality, a utilitarian aesthetics, a gender discriminative ethics, and so on. For Simon de Beauvoir, women have been represented as the second rate citizens in the legalized sexual form of the society, where men have been classified as the first sex. She's a woman ovary and she's a female. This word is sufficient to define her. In the mouth of a man, the epithet female has the sound of an insult. Yet he's not ashamed of his animal nature. On the contrary, he's proud if someone says of him, he's a male. Of course, this aspect is changing a little. Now, the males do not regard the females as an insult, but this was what it was before the coming in of the globalization, I would say. With the arrival of the globalized economy and the new market, the psychological topology of the female body is changing fast. The feminine images flashed by the media seem to have done away with the traditional hesitant and uneasy attitude towards the body. Now, there's a Hindi term lajja, which in English means shame, seems to be replaced in the present era by a confident display and exhibitionism. The traditional shyness regarding the body is calculatedly used to create erotic images with a female gaze. The media for the corporate world to sell its good invests this female gaze, and by doing this, the media sells itself too. And herein lies the close alliance of the two between the media and the feminine issue. With the arrival of globalized economy and the new market, the psychological topology of female body is changing fast. The advertisement of cosmetic goods create women's indulgent and savoring images while pampering their bodies with these cosmetics. These images do break some stereotype of patriarchy. Reported cases of violence and increasing dowry demands fly flagrantly in the face of the contention that patriarchy is going to be dead soon. It may be contended that the Media Market Alliance is rather doing everything necessary for opening up the paths of liberation for women. The increasing opportunities of jobs for women, greater visibility of women in public spaces, and comfortable with body images of women may be cited as proofs. And I think all the members who are present here, don't you think that media is really opening up paths of women liberation? In the case of a woman, there is always a separation between the constructs of self and identity. Now, these two things, they are very much prevalent. Actually, the self comes into being as the individual negotiates a cultural inheritance and reforms it, perhaps through a conflictual process to meet her requirement. It is this conflict and the choices it compels which forces the self. Identity, even as it impinges on the self, is dependent to a large extent on external givers like income status, caste, family, employment, and social acceptance. Of these, the personal self needs to be studied closely because the self is subordinated within most relationships merged with other overpowering identities. And the second, because even as they are learning to acquire as self in the new culture, constantly engaged in the trauma of selection between culture of origin they wish to retain or abandon. Now, the question arises as to how have women writers created space for construction or recovery of a self? This becomes important because sex, marriage, fidelity within marriage, motherhood are acts which are rooted in culture. By focusing on the physical self, it becomes possible to place the experiences and the characters in a contingent world where fresh decisions have to be taken every moment. Now, another important factor is loneliness, erasure, and transformation. They are often the price one has to pay for the recovery of the self. Fantasy and utopian writing are other modes which enable freedom and self expression. Matrilineage is a strong topic in the work of several women writers, for in this condition of uprootedness, one is free to imagine the absent and allow suppressed relationships and histories to surface. Myth, through relocation and reinterpretation, establishes a continuity. As we look back, we find women craving space for themselves with innovative initiatives and shaping history with their questioning and determined struggles. And as Shashi Deshpande puts it, female sexuality, we are ashamed of owning it. We can't speak of it, no, even to our own selves. But this feminine self is something which in this cooperative or corporate world of commerce is thrown over by the present media with a clever calculation to impinge on the mass consciousness in such a way that one feels as if she is entering a new world of freedom. Now, Shashi Deshpande, if we now enter into the works of Shashi Deshpande, we will find that she explores and exposes the prominent patriarchal premises and prejudices embedded in Indian culture and lifestyle. In a variety of ways, she challenges the ideology of gender, which justifies and neutralizes the inequitable divisions between male and female. She raises a voice in her novels for an egalitarian society, which would uphold the rights of each individual to fulfill their potential. Her significant contribution of 8 novels and a number of short stories, all famous for the presence of self and identity, which seems to have faded into social taboos, customs, values, structure of society, thus leaving oneself bereaved and lost in the humbug of the life. In her novels, The Dark Holds No Terror, Roots and Shadows, The Long Silence, The Binding Wine, A Matter of Time, and Small Remedies, she ponders over how male supremacy damages female egos and leads a woman to a state of intellectual slavery. In her novels, she depicts the lives of Indian middle class women who are born and brought up in a social atmosphere of profound conditioning on the basis of gender. Middle class women in India fare better than their class counterparts and are more advantaged economically. Their easier access to educational and professional opportunities enables them to function outside the domestic circle. Shashi Deshpande is actually aware of the discrepancy between the ardent aspirations of these women and their actual accomplishment in an androcentric context. And if we talk about the feminist writers, we will find that the question is raised regarding the strict division between man's world and the woman's place. Taking care of children and family members, preparing food, washing clothes, and cleaning the house, nursing old and sick family members, supervising the studies of children, etc., typically considered to be a woman's work. And in fact, such services are unpaid and unrecognized as labor, what you will classify as labor. The woman's labor, which is unpaid and unrecognized. Shashi Deshpande is angry about the redid sex role differentiation existing in Indian society. She expresses their anger by subverting the patriarchal role assignment. She makes a woman push their way into male dominated areas. In The Dark Holds No Terror, she displays a kind of reversal in the social roles of man and women in society. Saru, who is a doctor, is ambitious and successful like a traditional male character. Her husband, Manohar, is a college lecturer who wrote poems during his college days and was like a romantic hero in those days. But after his marriage, he has been totally changed. Now he's clinging on to his job and has shed all shreds of imagination and creative writing. He dislikes his wife for her success, but he's eager to enjoy all luxuries money provides. In fact, he's as possessive as a woman is and as intolerant of his wife's friends as a woman is of those women who profess friendship towards her husband. Her friendship with Professor Boozy, who has helped her to set up her consulting room, intensifies and induces feelings of inadequacy and jealousy in Manohar. Finally, he becomes a sadist who acts as a villain, quite insensitive to the needs, desires, and pains of his wife, Saru. On the contrary, Saru, in spite of her status as the chief earning member of the family, feels angry and irritated because her husband considers her a mere source of income. And I think those who have read Shashi Deshpande will absolutely agree with me. That is, women who try to come up or who show or try to show themselves as better as their male counterparts naturally infuses a feeling of inadequacy and jealousy in them. Again, in another novel, Small Remedies, Shashi Deshpande subverts the traditional image of domineering and demanding husbands by portraying Lata's husband Hari, who enjoys cooking and household work more than his wife, and Leela's husband Joe, who always encourages the social commitments of his wife. This kind of subversion done by the novelist becomes relevant and noteworthy because most of the wives and mothers of India spend a lifetime crushed by incredible workload within the social structure of patriarchy without any reward or recognition. Now, Indian women desire intellectual and spiritual companionship. That is also a need. It's not only that you should recognize the labor of a woman, the work of a woman. It is not that, but there should be an intellectual space. There should be a feeling of an identity of belongingness as a self in that household. That egalitarian relation with men should culminate in their total surrender of minds and bodies for each other. In fact, this idealistic relationship is never accepted or understood by men, and that's a tragedy. And why I will say it is a tragedy, because this is what I am experiencing myself, and this is what I find in my society myself. Consequently, women has to suppress her dreams and visions, goals and ideas in her own mind. She realizes that the only way to relate to a male counterpart is by offering her body to him unconditionally. And the day the woman stops doing that, she is regarded as a nobody. Let me tell you, this is my experience, that this is regarded as you are a nobody because you are not offering. They will reject you, telling you, you are not doing things as you used to do those things to me, or you are not caring for me in a way that you used to care for me, even though despite that she's doing cooking, she's looking after the household activities, she's caring for everything, but yet she is being rejected and dejected on the same point. Indian feminist writers are very much aware of this humiliating and self-denying experience of women, and Shashi Deshpande is in a number of her novels dealt with this. Marriage simultaneously makes a woman at once a social personage and a carnal prey. I love this part. This is Beauvoir says regarding Shashi Deshpande. And within the framework of marriage, women are entitled to status of wives and mothers. When a woman loses her husband, or if she remains unmarried, or if she becomes an unmarried mother or a childless wife, she's treated as an ugly object or a bad omen. In Roots and Shadows, Indu's aunt, Narmada Atya, is a childless widow. She has had a very hard life at her in law's house. Her in laws had, true to tradition, ill treated her after her husband's death, and their grandfather had brought her home. Her home, where she worked from morning to night every day of her life, expecting nothing. See, now even she is a childless widow, and even when she's brought back home, there also she is not giving the recognition of her own self. There also she is denied. So, by presenting Indu as a married woman who is not yet ready for motherhood because of her serious engagements, Shashi Deshpande challenges the myth that motherhood is a absolute fulfillment of woman's life. Now, this is another aspect which I would like to talk of, that if a woman does not become a mother, or if she abstains of producing a child for a few years after the marriage, then she is also relegated into the background. She is regarded as an outcast, or she's regarded as an aggressive woman, or in fact, the very back term which will be given to her is she's a barren woman. She's a barren woman. According to her, motherhood must be a matter of conscious choice and decision made by women. Hence, Deshpande presents a powerful female character, Madhu in Small Remedies, who has control over both production and reproduction. In spite of her conscious delay in embracing maternity, she believes that a child's birth is a rebirth for a woman. It is becoming part of the world once again. When she decides to become a mother, she postpones her creative and productive endeavors for a few years and gladly opts to stay with her son Adit in order to enjoy the thrill and bliss of motherhood, which is in fact a metamorphosis for her. Now, Shashi Deshpande also tries to draw a realistic picture of the tired and overburdened ordinary Indian mothers, in the words of a narrator Madhu in Small Remedies. So, when she is a motherless child, or that I am motherhood is unknown word to me, the mother I see in my childhood are drab creatures, forever working, forever scolding their children. Certainly, they are not the woman to arouse a sense of deprivation in me. That is what Indu says. And Emerson makes the observation that men are what their mothers make them. Now, that is also a very, very important factor, which I will try to say that this is very much prevalent in India. And after my speech, I would like to ask others also whether this type of a gender psyche is existing in the other cultures and in the other countries too. Unknowingly, mother sows the seeds of gender in the mind of the child who has no knowledge of sex difference or gender divisions. His later experiences of socialization reinforce what he has gained from his mother. Shashi Deshpande portrays a number of women characters who consciously or unconsciously act as propagators of patriarchal values when they deal with their children. Sarita's mother in Dark Holds No Terror, Aka in Roots and Shadow, Kalpana's mother Shakuntala in The Binding Wine, they are the victims of the age-old Indian belief in the unthinking subservience of women to tradition and to elders. Shashi Deshpande also attacks the central idea that mother domination and protection are considered essential prerequisites for character formation of children. Now, if mothers are supposed to hold this gender issue of, you can say, the upbringing of the children, infusing this feeling of genderhood into them, then it is again, here lies the fault of the females. So you can say that Shashi Deshpande makes a significant observation in her novels that marriage teaches women the art of deception and suppression as a survival strategy, but her female protagonist also believed that women should be aware of their rights and needs, and that without the slightest guilt feeling, they should assert their personal needs and desires. All the prominent female characters of Shashi Deshpande stand for a positive attitudinal change in women. Shashi Deshpande creates a number of female characters who have deep awareness of women's present inferior status and the numerous factors leading to this condition. In fact, these women characters become the mouthpiece of the author herself, who has been engaged in the process of consciousness raising for the uplift of ordinary Indian women. So, as a feminist writer, she endeavors her women characters to struggle for independence, selfhood, self identity, and regain her place in humanity as a whole being. She should have a space to grow and nurture her needs. Now, coming back to Arundhati Roy. Now, she also, you can say, Arundhati Roy has written a famous for the book, The God of Small Things, for which she won the Booker's Prize. It contains chapters which, to speak the least, are outrageous. And Shiv Kumar's A River with Three Banks depicts love and sex without any inhibition. So, is the case with Manju Kapoor's Difficult Daughters. Marriage as a social institution has lost its sanctity and relevance in the post 1980s era. Lack of faith in religion and declining moral standard and behavior are some of the predominant themes in the post-modern novels. Corruption in public as well as private lives of individuals too appeals to our novelists, and they write novels on this theme. Apart from love, sex, women novelists voice their feminism by asserting their rights to live in their own way. Now, the plot of the novel of Arundhati Roy is very complex because it moves backwards and forwards, in the past and then coming into the present, and thereby it makes the narration a little difficult. But thematically, everything centers in the world of small things around Amu, with her two children, Raffle and Istha, her parents, brother Chaco, and his wife Margaret, and the daughter Sophie Mall, and above all, Amu's low caste lover, Velutha the Paravan. The novel opens with Raffles coming back to Ayaman after a failed marriage to see Ista, her twin brother. They were two egg twins, dizygotic, who was sent to his father after Sophie Mall's funeral and now returned to their native place after 23 years. So they are united after 23 years. The whole family has been personalized in retrospection. The twins Istha and Raffle lived with their divorced mother Amu and their blind maternal grandmother Mamachi and their maternal uncle Chaco, once a Rhodes Scholar at Oxford and lecturer in Madras Christian College, who helped his mother to run their Paradise Pickle business, and their maternal grandfather's younger sister, Baby Kochama. Chaco was married to an English woman, Margaret, who divorced him and married Joe and had a daughter, Sophie Mall, who died later by drowning. Now, the story centers around Amu's love for Velutha, who belongs to a low caste and who's a Paravan. And that forms the core of the novel and makes the novelist's preference crystal clear. The traditional society was not only conservative but authoritarian, for it laid down Who should love whom? I mean, you have no right to love a paravan. It happened long ago, and it is against this concept that the novelist protests vehemently. The right to love a man of her choice is a woman's birthright and should not be scuttled in the name of religion, caste, color, and class. It is in this sense that the novel could be read as a feminist novel or a post colonial novel, for both feminism and post colonialism aim at destroying the old power structure. Roy wants to break this age old tradition to uphold the right of a woman to marry a man of her choice. Thus, you can say that it really began in the days when the love laws were made. The laws that laid down who should love who and how much. Things can change in a day is used as a kind of refrain in the novel. It suggests that Roy is determined to break the tradition because she says, who's the god of small things? Is it Velutha, the Paramat, the maker of fine things with his superb sense of detail? Who could have been? We are told the god of loss, the god of small things, the god of goosebumps and sudden smiles, of soulmate, metal smells like steel bus rails, and the smell of the bus conductor's hands from holding them. Who is this god of small things? And then Arundhati Roy is also, you can say, credited with creating a new idiom and phrases like biological father, die able age, see secrets, returned, non-elect, dead coiled like an angry spring, touchables, rice Christians, clean children. They are like a pack of peppermints, as lonely as a wolf. These phrases, as a writer of impulse and is rather than you can say they are these figures of speech are a departure from the direct way of writing or speaking. And every writer like Arundhati Roy has their own style and says things in her own way. So besides taking up the cudgels for women's right to property and to choose their lovers, the novel also makes references to communist movement in Kerala and allusions to the Mahabharata. Most of her novels are, centered around the Kerala and Kashmir, and those interested in politics can claim that it is a satire or politics, communist establishment to be specific. One can call it a protest novel, which is radical, subversive, and taboo breaking. Still, another view may be that it tells the story of a family. This can be taken as a representative post colonial novel, for it seeks to restructure the power center by giving right to women to live their lives in their own way, and fashions a new language for fiction by creating a new English fiction. And as Jain, has rightly pointed out, that women have been kept in kitchens and parlors, in parda and in luxury, but deprived freedom. Let there be a change and let more Roys come out and give expression to their passions and feelings, which will certainly be welcomed by the literary world. We should be able to agree with Virginia Woolf when she argues that all activity of the mind should be so encouraged that there will always be in existence a nucleus of women who think, invent, imagine, and create as freely as men do, and with as little fear of ridicule, and is a bold venture as a post colonial novel because it gives an excellent indication of what the novel can do when it breaks those shackles and constraints of the bygone days. And Arundhati Roy, we're talking in reference to globalization, subversion, and spatial politics, you can say. She approaches the gender psyche through the lens of power structures, caste, and the erosion of local culture by globalized consumerism. And in one of her novels, The Ministry of Utmost Happiness, she breaks stereotypes by presenting characters like Anjum, a transgender woman who navigates the rigid patriarchy of Indian society, suggesting a more fluid understanding of the genders. And Roy's characters, you can say in The Ministry of Utmost Happiness, Tilo, she uses physical spaces to resist societal norms, embodying an unapologetic, albeit traumatized sense of freedom. So Roy highlights that women are not just oppressed by men, but by a complex interplay of caste, religion, and the small injustices that govern daily life. Her work, particularly set in, as I told you, in Kerala and Kashmir, dealt with the psyche of women living under state surveillance and within conflict zones, showing resistance as a survival strategy. Lastly, I would say that Deshpande and Roy through their diverse approaches, portray that the modern Indian female psyche is caught in a double bound situation. It is a site of transition where women are grappling with newfound freedoms while struggling against the deeply entrenched systematic patriarchy and its new, more insidious manifestations in a globalized society. Thank you. With that, I end my talk. I hope you all could understand my point, and I would like to question, I mean, not question you, but I want agreement or disagreement from you all that do you also think that women have a choice in a matrimonial alliances? And do you agree that, according to Arundhati Roy, that factors like culture, class, or race interact with gender or shape an individual's psychology? I invite opinions. I can ask Dr. Shaminaz also to contribute something. And
Dr. Neerja, you know what? You
yes,
really
ma'am.
are so precious, and you you speak from your heart. You really do, um, and also based on what you've seen and experienced, and I can see that you've also researched stuff. But I love listening to you because you talk with such a passion. So thank you so much. I found it extremely interesting, and I hope that this is screening also on YouTube. We're going to share the YouTube, and then we're going to hope that people will also be able to add comments in the group that you're in the gender group. Um, so thank you very much. We love you to
Uh,
bits.
yeah, and a question was raised in my mind that how have I contributed to reinforcing binary gender socialization in my everyday life? So, if
Yeah.
I talk of my socialization, my social this thing, I will find I mean, there were many myths, and as you can say, a curtain had fallen over my eyes regarding this gender issue and how blindly we followed and believed in in masculinity and had a faith in them and in their doings and in their matters of carrying on the household affairs or in finances and everything. But it was later on in with my personal experiences I realized that how we have such a blind faith, and then when that curtain is raised, I realized that how wrong I had been, and how, I mean, I could never could imagine for myself that where do I stand. I've been doing what other women have been doing, that is
Mm,
working and being satisfied with whatever I have been giving by him. That is, even the money that I've earned does not belong to me totally.
mm,
It is his. He has a rule over it, force over it. I mean, it's just my experience that I'm sharing. So I will also say that this gender socialization also has a um, demarcation in the personal lives of we educated women also.
mm.
I mean, we'll say that we are very
Yeah,
educated, we talk of women empowerment, but sometimes even we fall short of these things in life. Thank you.
True.
Nirja ma'am, I want to add one thing what you have said. You know, just I'm in the field of women's studies or especially gender studies, especially women's studies. So um, I have my own experience as I have talked with many ladies, not only in my city but different parts of my country, and that is that all the working ladies, those most of the working lady don't have much access on their money. Also, they are earning, but their salary or their money is monitored by their husband. And the thing is that sometimes they are not able to even spend the hard earned money which they have earning, and it is being means it is more being spent by their husband. Don't you think I'm right? Because this is not only the case of one or two women, it is the case of, I think, 75 to 80% women.
Yeah, I do agree. I do agree because I mean, because that's where the gender problem comes. Because women are not able to speak out, they are not able to voice. They are crushed even to this day. They will not speak out. What will the world say? What will people say? That question always tends to torment them. I mean, they have a fear of what the society will think of them and their family members will think, the culture in which they are living. That what prohibits them from voicing their own feelings, rather. So that is very much there. And I would like to invite comments also from people of other countries. I mean, such issues uh, are very much prevalent. I mean, I have also studied the Black women, and so I have seen how the work in the works of the Alice Walker, Gloria Naylor, and Toni Morrison, and everybody, and how women, and also on the other hand, women have stood for women also. That is also there.
What do you say? Is the same case in Pakistan also about the women who are earning and their money, their salary is being monitored by the husband? Because what the husband do, they make a joint account with their wives in their wife's salary. So whatever she is spending or she is gaining, everything is monitored by them. Don't you think Pakistan has the same temperament or mentality? Men?
Thank you, Sharminas. Yes, you are very much right because the circumstances are equally happens in Pakistan. Their husbands, you said very well that a husband monitor wife's salary and her savings, etc. Besides that, if a woman is earning, they put some kind of responsibility on her that she has to spend on this and that. This is your responsibility to pay this bill or that kind of thing. So you cannot say that uh, women have freedom to expand or save their money by own. So it's under strict monitoring.
Yeah.
It sounds funny, but it's right that a woman's earning is under strict monitoring. Where are you spending that? Whom you are giving that money? Or what? So blah blah blah. So this is a worst condition a woman, an educated working woman faces in Pakistan.
So a woman is answerable for telling the man where she's spending, but he is not answerable what he is spending and where he is
Exactly,
spending.
exactly. Even you cannot ask him about his salary, how much he is
Yeah.
earning. You cannot
Yes.
ask
Yes.
him.
You cannot question him, and that taboo
Yeah.
is still there. I mean, in a way, we say. I mean, as I was talking about globalization and about the women who are coming out and who are holding positions in the corporate world, but this is still there. This sort of patriarchal system is still there. It's a form of a patriarchy or traditionalism or culturalism, whatever you can call it. That's still prevalent.
You are saying that. Yeah, it's happening.
It's
We are
happening.
facing us.
It's still
Yeah,
happening.
yeah, it's still happening.
Thank you. Thank you, Nuzat. Yeah, that's true.
Rosaline, what do you
Thank
say?
you.
Is the same condition in UK? Dr.
Uh,
Nikki, what is your observation about
okay,
the woman, earning woman in UK?
okay, maybe I come in there. I wouldn't talk about. Let me talk about Cameroon before I come to UK. Just very
Yeah.
briefly, because Cameroon is
Yes.
where at least I've lived the longest of my life, and when it comes to this patriarchy thing, it's really a big thing in Cameroon because even when the husband is seen as the main provider, the wife is expected to focus on domestic responsibilities and support the family. But when it comes now to household income, like earned through farming, small businesses, and informal work, the husband totally is in control of almost everything. And you will see that even despite women's economic contributions, the patriarchal structure in Cameroon, it gives the man the greater control over household finances. And this has really been a problematic thing because it has caused a lot of divorces, a lot of issues in terms of how the home is really sustained. And this creates power imbalance where women may earn income but have limited authority over its use. And although changes are really emerging today, especially in urban areas in Cameroon, especially with the increase in education and dual income households. And now, traditional beliefs still influence how income, authority, and gender roles are perceived. You will find a husband is at home, not doing anything, and the woman is working. The husband exerts control like, oh, you have to leave your workplace, come to the house, serve me food to eat before you go back to
Yeah.
your workplace. So that kind of control is really something that is bringing a lot of problems in homes. Now in the UK, things are shifting because it is now a different perspective altogether, where you find men and women who are now serving as partners, like partners in terms of shared responsibility. It's a whole 50-50 thing. The head of the house is no longer the head of the house. Like in terms of practical terms, the man tells you it's 50-50. If I take care of this, you are taking care of that. And this is really making a lot of men and women wanting to live on their own, because when it comes to that, women, especially those who are coming from Africa to be in the UK, it becomes really difficult because traditionally women will see men as the head of the house, you funding everything, you being in control, but then you are not doing the 50-50 thing in practical terms. Like, I mean, you are doing the 50-50 thing in practical terms, but in Africa, you are supposed to provide for the house, even though you are controlling the woman's money. But in the UK, you cannot control the woman's money. You cannot control anything. The moment you want to be in control, the human rights here is very strong. It gives women an upper hand. What you earn, you decide how you run it. So it becomes really different. That's why a lot of women that have left Africa to come into places like the UK, they are so happy because they can be able to control what they earn. They can be able to dictate what happens in the home. So that makes things a shift in the paradigm, because once the men find that it's difficult for them to handle, you start having breakups in relationships because they find it difficult, the men find it difficult to control these women in these modern societies. And the next thing you start finding is disagreements, and then it gets to divorce. And then the men even suffer the toll, because once you start making as if you want to wield that control over here in places like the UK, the law is enforced. And then you if you are not careful, you, the man, you are moved away from that home and you start sponsoring, paying whatever bills in that house, and given kilometers to be away from that house. So the control that women enjoy in places like the UK, their finances, their whatever happens within the home, it's really protected in places like this. But in Africa, you cannot do that. That's why many men will say, I prefer to go and keep families in Africa than to keep a home in the UK. Because once you keep a home in the UK, be ready to work by the rules. So those are some of the dynamic changes in terms of context. Thank you.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Very nicely put. I mean, that's the difference. I mean, you really shown the difference that how women are moving from Africa to UK just to assert their rights and assert their stronghold is. And wherever men try to intervene, it results in divorce and things. But at least women are not right. Now, I mean, this concept is coming a lot of, I mean, in USA also, I find that men and women both are working side 50-50. I mean, the roles are being assigned that if I'm cooking, then you are doing the cleaning. If I'm making tiffins for the children, then you are getting the children ready for the school. I mean, so they're dividing the work, and they make it a point that this much I will do and this much you have to do. So they are trying to, consolidate, but where men want to put their foot down, naturally, it may end into a divorce or a breakups, as you would say. So
Okay.
nice to know that.
1 minute.
Thank you.
Yes, I can intervene.
Yeah, definitely. We'll invite you to speak. I would like to know your views.
From DRC, we have got a lot of problems with violence in Democratic Republic of Congo. Especially with people. So
Your voice
the
is not
ladies,
audible.
they have-
John, can you please take off your microphone? The headphones. I suppose the earphones are creating a problem. Your voice is not audible at all, Mr. H.C.
John, can you hear me? John, put your microphone on. We can't hear you. Put your microphone
You get-
on.
now.
It's gone off.
Hello?
Yeah, now we can
Okay.
hear.
Hello?
Now we can hear.
Yeah, Democratic Republic of Congo, there is many violence, and we got a lot of problems with divorce. In my country, the ladies, you are going to find that the ladies, they are working. Some men, they didn't like to work. So, and the ladies, they are taking responsibility, paying the school fees, giving food. Those problems, they are big problems. So you discover that there is a divorce, too much divorce. And again, we have got a lot of problems with a lot of youth that we call the street kids. So they are making daily, night, sometimes days, they are making violence. They can take a certain ladies on the roads, and they make violence. Like right now, the way I'm talking, we have one lady, 28 years old, died because of violence. So, and we have a lot of problems with the government and the certain NGOs to work hard to stop that system of violence. And find again too much drinking here. So they don't have time to control their families. So this is the problem we have. And with the poverty, you can't find the companies who can the company can take some to give the work to the men. So that is the main point we have in my country. So the small ladies who stay at home, who can work, who can do the work with their benefits. And you are going to find that if the lady, she's working, for example, and automatically she must think about their family. That is the problem we are facing. So, and the men, they don't have work and a lot of divorce. That is the problem we have in my country, especially where I am. And in East Congo, you are going to find a lot of divorce because of war. The ladies, they are not safe. They are not safe, the ladies. they are in danger wherever here. So I think what we must do, I must make a small report that I must send to Madam Nikki. So that report with the photos, you are going to see how the ladies, they are, what can I say? They are victims, you see. So I don't know what we can do to protect the ladies against violence. And you are going to find, if you go to the police, you are going to find every time the situation of divorce. Every time. And up today, I was in the police, I discovered that. So you're going to the courts, the same issue. So now, I think in DRC, there is a lot of problems, violence against the ladies in my country. That is the information I was supposed to give. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I mean, this is a really eye-opening thing. And it's not only that in India that women are suffering, or you can say, but other in your country, this is even worse, that the women are facing so much violence and they are being the victims, and they are resulting in cases are resulting in divorce, and the police is also not able to take action. I mean, steps should be taken to meet these problems, these challenges that are there.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Right.
Gauhar, if you want to
Right.
say something.
Yes, hi everyone.
Hi.
I just wanted to bring to your notice that looking at everything, the nature has its own pattern. The pattern of nature is the best for exactly how a family should be run. Like for example, the men are supposed to be protectors and providers, and the women are supposed to be the keepers. It's not a housewife. We don't call them housewife. We call them homemakers. A home is supposed to be an estate where a woman is supposed to be, not supposed to be, but rather she is the queen or the owner of that house. And the man, as per nature, has to go out, work hard, irrespective of sunshine, rain, or hail or storm. It is his duty and his responsibility to provide for himself, his family, his children, and his wife. So, and looking back at the other side, it's not the necessity that women have to work. It's just the luxuries that attract them, that they want to make more money, or they want to be at par with other people who are affluent. That makes them go out to work along with men and shoulder side by side along with men, so that they are able to provide a luxurious, I will not say necessities, it's just the luxuries, the other items that are not actually important, not more than necessary, that women are going out to work. Like there are certain cases I could see myself when I was in Bombay, India. Women used to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and then she had to prepare her children for school, then prepare her husband's breakfast and all, then would dress up and leave for her own work. Then they used to travel around for an hour by a local train or the metro, what we call, and then go to your office. And by 6 o'clock, she left her office, and by 7, she had to be back in her home. Then again, take care of the domestic chores, and the men would arrive later, and that actually added to the stress between both of them. Since a woman is not just a housewife, she is not the worker, she's not the maid, and she's not the slave. She is the empress, and she's considered to be, in Islam, she's considered to be the queen of the house, where she has to manage, she has to rule, and it is for the men to take care of the children and the house and the women. So the only thing that makes women go out of their homes is just for the sake of being at par, or for the luxuries.
Well, thank you so much, Gauhar, for your views. I agree to it to some point, but I disagree on the point when you say that women go out to work for sake of luxury. No, many women go out to work for supporting the family also. There are many cases where
Exactly.
the second
I
person has to do this not
maybe
to support, not only for the sake of luxury. Like if a woman
no.
is going out, it's not because she wants to buy the TV, therefore she's going out, and the man is not able to buy the TV, so she is going to provide for the TV. No, I mean it's a financial support to the family also. That also counts. And economic independence also. Sometimes, when the nature clashes between I mean, it's not necessary, but if supposing there's a clash of nature between a man and a woman, then unless and until the woman is strong enough financially, she will not be able to live alone, and she will not be able to make a stand for herself. That's,
See,
I mean, she
there
has
are
to bow down to the wishes of the
everywhere.
family.
Exceptions are
It's not
everywhere.
totally there.
Listen, ma'am. I may be have been wrong with the choice of my sentences or the words. I may have been wrong. I should not
Yeah,
have used the word luxuries, but it's more than necessities. Why does a woman
yeah,
need to support her husband in terms of finances? Why is there a need?
yeah,
Whereas, why doesn't, why in that case, when it comes to equality, then everything has to be equal. If both of them go
yes,
out and then they come stressed, tired in the evening, they won't be able to give a time to themselves and to their kids and to the family. And then both of them, usually both of them don't work together in the kitchen and the house. It's only the woman who
yeah,
has to,
that's true. The,
as in
the
it is
work is
taken for
not
granted
divided
that a
equally.
woman, exactly. So in that case, when it is equality and division of labor, then it has to be equal in every
Every
sphere.
walk of life. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I agree to it that there should be that division of labor also at home also. Thank you so much for your nice opinions. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome. Now, anybody else wants to speak, or we should?
Thank you so much, Nirja ma'am, for your insightful lecture. Now I request Dr. Nikki to say concluding words. Dr. Nikki, are you there? Ma'am, there is a young learner. She want to say something.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. She should voice her.
A nice speech.
Come forward.
A nice space.
Ma'am, she is Zufisha, my neighbor's daughter. She is in class 5th, a very brilliant student. And there are some more, her brothers. So, Dr. Nikki, are you there? Rosaline, I request you to speak the concluding words.
Oh my God. Thank you so much for this opportunity for us to be here together. And I really want to be so grateful to you, Dr. Naja. And this topic is something that if we want to be talking about it, honestly, it's really going to take days and days and days for us to share experiences of different contexts, which we have started doing today. And we want to appreciate you, Dr. Naja, for really bringing us in context with what is happening at your end, and then also putting our heads together to see how things are evolving, and also learning of the experiences shared by Dr. Shimanez, Insha, and myself, and also our brother there. This tells us that there are lots of things happening in terms of the patriarchal system that we find ourselves. But then we are not losing hope, because some things are evolving while some things just stay like stagnant. But we are just praying that with events like this, we are going to go a long way to help to shift the narratives. So once we attend events like this, let's try to see how we can be able to engage the different groupings that we have in our different communities, in our families, and to see how we can better the emotional, physical, and other relationships that we have within families, so that husband and wife can live not just as a husband and wife, but live as persons that are created by the Creator, and who can function as partners in everything they are doing, not one lording over the other one. We still recognize the fact that yes, the man is the head of the house, but then at a certain point, we as husbands and wives should be able to look at things in a very very in short, let me say the growth mindset, so that at the end of the day we really enjoy relationships, we enjoy the way human beings treat one another, and the way we also connect in terms of the different economic, political, emotional connections that we find ourselves in. So thank you very much, Dr. Shimanes. We are so grateful for this, and we want to pray that if you can engage this discussion again further, and we bring more people from different contexts so that it can be able to help many societies that have really stayed with a very fixed stereotype, patriarchal systems that will help them to evolve. We will really be grateful. So thank you very much for this event, and we want to pray that subsequently we will get to have more of these. We want to thank Joseph and the technical team for their wonderful collaboration to have this event run live on both our YouTube platform and also other platforms. So thank you so much, Dr. Shimanes, and over.
Sure, we will organize some more lecture. Actually, I wanted to have a lecture of my supervisor, which is the supervisor of Nirja ma'am also, Professor Sumita Parmar ma'am. But unfortunately, she is sick. She is undergoing her treatment in Bombay. She is having a very chronic disease, and hope she get well soon. Then we will organize her lecture also, and hope we'll organize more and more lecture under the banner of gender studies. So thank you everyone. Thank you team GPLT. Nirja ma'am, thank you so much. And these small kids, they want to meet you. I hope we will meet you soon. So thank you everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Shimanes. Thank you, Dr. Nega.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Nuzat. Thank you, Pizada. Good. Have a good weekend. Bye.
Thank you.
Nuzat, they are saying hello to you also.
Okay, hello. How are you?
Hello. Hello to the kids. Hello.
This is the